everybody, and welcome to the zoo. I'm the Rusty Panda, and I am here for you. Today we have DeltaCrabMusic in the
Hey,
house.
how's it going?
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to have Delta Crab here. This is really exciting for me. I'm super pumped. Got a great list of things for all of you who don't know how Wiki Wednesday works. We basically ask the streamer 15 things they like and 5 things they don't like. And then once we get that list, we go ahead and put them into Wikipedia and see what kind of things we could learn from it while learning stuff from the streamer. And that's pretty much it. Good to see everyone in the chat. Thanks everybody for stopping on by. How was your day today?
It was good. I've let's see here. I've been helping out my parents a little bit with their business, so I actually did some deliveries for them today. So that's
Oh.
why I didn't stream during the afternoon. I actually did this when I was a kid, and like when I was in college, even like after I got my license, I started doing like delivery work for my parents whenever they needed it.
Now, delivery work like drive a car delivery work, or are you
hmm
okay?
Yeah. So my parents own a fish business, and
Oh,
they
cool.
sell like tropical fish to pet stores. They're like a wholesaler.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
so cool. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
a
So
friend, Captain Erock, whose mother works at a fish store, does tropical fish and all that other stuff. That's
oh no way.
crazy. Small world.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so we've got like this list of things I definitely want to get into. The first one is and you didn't even write this, and this is just a question for me, but I want to know where your name came from. We'll get
Okay. Yeah,
into
yeah.
crab here in a minute. Ooh, crab here in a
Okay.
minute. But I'm curious about how your name developed.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Just want to say hi real quick to people in the chat.
Yeah, go for
How's it
it.
going, Alex? How's it going, Books, Brews, and Booze? It's good to see you. Um, yeah, you probably are gonna want to unfollow me after this. I was actually only gonna talk about you and all of the poetry that you read. So yeah, if you want to save yourself some embarrassment, you should do that. Um, so yeah, the crab, Delta Crab. Um, I was trying to come up with like an artist name that was like kind of catchy,
Mhm.
that was memorable, and so um, I had this idea like I should find like an animal that like really encapsulates what I want this like music project to be, and I want it to be like something that was like kind of fun, um, hype, something that had like a lot of energy, but I didn't want it to like be something that like kind of took itself too seriously.
Mhm.
I've had other music projects where I felt like I was taking myself too seriously, and I wanted to be kind of a little bit more loose with the kind of music that I was doing. So I kind of felt like the crab was like a good encapsulation of that. Um, Crabs are orange when they're cooked, and orange is also my favorite color. So that was also like another kind of bonus thing there.
Oh my gosh, orange is my favorite color.
No way.
Yeah, right? You can't tell
It's
at
the
all. I'm not wearing orange. It's fine.
best color.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not usually people's favorite color. Like people usually choose
No.
like green or blue or something boring like that, or black
Yeah, right?
if they
They'll
want to be
just
emo.
exactly. Yeah, black was my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
color up until I, had opinions about the world that were adult and not just rage against the machine.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so orange crab, and then where's the delta
hmm
come from?
Okay, so I guess like the delta kind of go fits with the crab because like deltas can be like the end of like a river, I guess, and so
Mhm.
like you can find crabs in like a literal like river delta. Uh,
Oh.
at the same time, like delta can also mean change. Uh, so I don't know. There's like a lot of kind of different layers to it. Um, I
Yeah.
was also living in Vietnam at the time, and like I was eating crabs like somewhat frequently, so it was also just like something that was like kind of on my mind.
That makes
Um,
sense. Now, believe me,
yeah,
I relate to you. I was just one day like, I like the color rust, and I love pandas. The rusty panda, like it
there you
just
go.
sort of. Or if
Yeah, yeah.
you want to use my stage name, it's Thrusty Panda, just in case you
Thrust.
needed to know. Somebody came up with that, and I about died.
That's
So,
hilarious. Okay, so I gotta ask you this though.
yeah,
Was the Rusty Panda with just one A taken?
yes, Now, I came
Oh,
from
that
Mixer.
MF.
I know that from
Uh,
Mixer, I was fine. I had the Rusty Panda, everything was great. And then I had came over Twitch because Mixer
uh-huh.
went down. And there was already somebody,
Okay.
so they
Yep.
come
Yep.
to visit my stream every so often because I went to visit their stream once and I was like, hey, we're
Okay.
twinning.
Okay. That's funny.
But yeah, so
Oh
I,
my
I
god.
could have been like XX the Rusty Panda. You know, you do like all the different
Yeah.
things, or
Yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, just add an
Yeah.
A on
With a
it.
little
It's fine.
underscore,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
But
Yeah.
so you see, eat crabs a lot. I'm from the East Coast. We went crabbing. We have blue crabs.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Like in Maine, Maryland,
New
like
Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay. That area. Okay.
So
Gotcha.
the
Gotcha.
blue claws is actually the whatever you call underneath major league, minor league baseball team. The blue claws
Hmm.
is the team because of the crab.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think Maine's baseball team, like their minor league team is like the blue is like the Red Claws.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is funny. Yeah. Not
Yeah.
that I like really care
No,
about
I know.
minor
Yeah,
league
see, I just
baseball,
knew
but
it from
it's like
growing up near it.
I just remember thinking like, oh, that's actually kind of a cool name for a team.
Yeah, red claws. Um, so I'm looking at this and I'm wondering why we even eat crabs to begin with because they're just so weird. Um, I mean, just look at this little guy right here. Why would you want
Yeah.
to? It's a land crab, but why would you want to just decide to be like, this is edible, like?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the bigger
Yeah. I don't know.
ones, I don't know. The bigger ones, I can get that. I'm like, there's some meat under the
Yeah.
shell I
Yeah.
can get at.
Yeah. Well, um, I remember like reading stuff about like lobsters in like New England because like lobsters are like a huge thing here, and like apparently during colonial times, people considered lobsters like the cockroaches of the sea. They were just like everywhere,
Okay.
and I think people also back then didn't really know how to eat them. Yeah, they're essentially sea spiders, is what crabs are, right? Like cockroaches and spiders. Basically, that's what lobsters and crabs are.
I'm so hungry right
And I think
now.
like yeah, people didn't really like consider them like that tasty. I think also, it wasn't until people discovered cooking them um, like really fresh actually makes them like actually edible.
Right.
Um, that was when people started eating them.
I
So
honestly
before
thought you were
that,
gonna
yeah,
say then they discovered butter. Like I thought that was gonna
yeah,
be your next statement. It was not, but I really thought it'd be like,
no,
and that's when they discovered butter. I'm like, all right,
yeah,
yeah. Hey,
yeah,
Sencha.
yeah. Oh, book says they used to serve lobsters to people in jail. Okay.
I don't know if it's
uh,
like old lobster though. Like again, if you're saying they didn't cook them right, I don't know why. I would just look this up. Lobster.
yeah, yeah. How's it going, Sensia? It's good to see you, Plant
We
Man.
pronounce Sencha only because he has to have two A's. Sencha.
Okay.
Like I'm the Rusty Panda. See,
Okay.
he's got
Okay.
Panda with four A's this time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, hey, Alchemmutation. How's it
Hey,
going?
Alki. Mr. Crag. Uh,
Alchemmutation is one of my oldest followers.
Aw.
We've known each other like since when we first started streaming, basically. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. Did y'all notice that he literally didn't say hi to his girlfriend? I did. You missed it, Bugs. You missed it. Pay attention. Come on.
Get
Triple
with it.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Stop reading poems about your neighbors and all the things that you're gonna do with them. All right.
All right. So, lobster became a significant source of nutrients among European coastal dwellers. It was an important secondary food source. It became mid-range delicacy in the late Roman period. And then
Mm.
Viking period, get me to colonial period. Oh yeah, before this time, lobster was considered a poverty food for indentured servants and low society members of Maine, Massachusetts, and Canadian Maritimes.
Mm.
Some servants specified in employment agreements that they would not eat lobster more than twice a week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's commonly served in prisons. Nice books.
Mm-hmm.
Much to the
Mm-hmm.
displeasure of inmates, it was deemed worthy only of being used as fertilizer or fish bait until well into the 20th century. It was not viewed as more than a low price canned staple food. Can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine if something like, I don't know, what's real expensive besides everything these days? Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's say king crab legs, right? Because
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
thinking about that. Can you imagine if those were just like, oh yeah, crab legs, 25 cents or 5 cents a leg, a giant leg.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I imagine like the scarcity of them contributes partly to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
there's some sort of economics lesson in there, I'm sure.
Oh, lobster rolls kill me. Oh my god, I love lobster rolls so
Oh
much.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just a
yeah.
good
Lobster's pretty good.
lobster roll on a hoagie. Yeah, that's what they
Mm,
normally serve it on.
yeah, I usually just like just eating lobster kind of by itself, without anything else.
No butter.
So I'm like lactose intolerant.
Okay,
So I don't usually like um elect to put butter on things.
that makes sense.
So like people find it like kind of gross that I'm cool with just eating but like toast without anything on it. Um, but yeah, like butter kind of ruins it for me if there's
Okay.
like too much of it.
Yeah. Oh, if there's too
That's how
much of it,
yeah.
yeah.
That's how I feel about like movie theater popcorn too. Like if it's like just dripping in butter, I'm kind of like I don't really want to eat this anymore.
Yeah, plant-based butter, or I can't believe it's not butter. That sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, like margarine's like okay for me, but like even then, like for me the just kind of the taste or the texture of butter like just doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with like it in like baked goods, I guess, where like you're not really tasting the butter itself. But
Okay.
even then, I can't really eat stuff that's like super butter heavy, like croissants or croissant,
Oh, croissant.
croissant. Yeah. Um,
I want a croissant
Alex loves it when I try to say French
now.
because I'm terrible. I'm terrible at it. Does anybody speak
Croissant.
French in the chat? I hope not, or maybe I hope so, so that
Yeah,
you guys can
right.
like
Then you
make
can
fun of me.
correct. Yeah, and then we see all the inflections, and we're like, I still don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We,
we.
oh
O
we,
U I O Y.
owie.
Owie.
Is that how you say it?
Oh my god. So, um, how long have you been doing? How long have you been doing music? How long have you been performing music? How long have you been in doing it in a way that's not like listening to your iPod back in 2000s?
Hmm. Yeah, I've been doing music for about 30 years.
Okay.
Started off with classical piano lessons when I was 7, and I did violin for like elementary school orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Eventually, I started playing piano for my parents' church, and I picked up bass guitar when I was in middle school because my friends got a Squire or Stratocaster, and he wanted to start a band with me. So naturally,
Wow.
made sense for me to pick up bass so that we could be in a band.
Of course.
And then from there, yeah, it kind of snowballed from there. It only got worse.
Right.
I started listening to like rock and roll
Oh gosh.
and like non church music, basically, and started learning songs, started writing songs. I picked up drums when I was in high school. I learned how to play guitar when I was in college. Learned how to like mix my music. Started experimenting with like recording stuff. I recorded like some like basement albums. I did church bands. I started my own bands. I did like jazz bands.
Hmm.
Um, did some solo stuff. Like I used to like play open mics where I just like take my bass and I'd like play like silly stuff about like I don't know vacuum cleaners and public displays of affection, you know that kind of thing.
Yes.
Um, and I guess like for the past 10 years, I've been really focusing on like doing original music, writing my own stuff, performing. I was doing YouTube during the pandemic because I wasn't doing any gigs anymore,
Hmm.
and that kind of led me to streaming. which happened around start of 2021, like
Okay.
when we were like sort of in the middle of the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And I've been having that be like sort of like my main focus, my main creative thing ever since.
Yeah.
What was my first band name? Oh man, oh that's a good question. I was in this like Christian punk band, so I used to be like super Christian, and then I deconverted
Okay.
like about 10 years ago. But we were called, I think, Free Fighter. I think that was like the first band, like real band that I was ever in. It was kind of like a rip off of like the Foo Fighters. So
Oh, okay.
it was actually a terrible band name.
Copyright. You get all the letters in the mail and.
Yeah, I experimented in college. Sensia, you're hilarious.
I am Fozar. Welcome in, Jack.
Oh, hey Jack, how's it going? I
Um,
got to hang out with Jack in Boston
yes.
a couple years ago.
He's excited because both you and he's met before.
Yeah. Oh, cool,
So,
cool. Yeah,
and that was same with Lainey too. He was like, "Look, two people that I've met in person before." I was like, "Look
yeah,
at
yeah,
you."
yeah. And how's it going, Ben? It's good to see you.
um, all right, so we're first band name Free Fighters.
Hmm.
Now, what is like a formative band for you? Like you said, you came out in
Hmm.
rock and roll. Like, what's that band
Yeah.
or
I
bands?
listened to a lot of Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I don't actually really think of artists as much as like albums or like particular songs
Hmm.
or I don't know, like periods of like an artist that like really like what I'm thinking of inspirations. Because like the Red Hot Chili Peppers actually, oh man, this is like such a nerdy response, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers like they've evolved like quite a bit like
Yeah.
throughout their career, right? And so like I was introduced to them during like their kind of late 90s, early 2000s sort of era, when like they were becoming like international like superstars, I
Hmm.
guess. So like Californication was a big influence on me because it came out when I was like learning how to play bass.
Yeah.
There were a lot of like fun songs to play bass with on that album. Um, so very influenced by Red Hot Chili Peppers, that kind of style of like blending rock and funk and like pop, even like a little bit of hip hop, I guess. Um, I was really influenced by like bass heavy bands. So
White
Primus.
White Stripes.
White Stripes was a later influence for me,
Okay.
actually. They're more of like a songwriting influence. You can definitely hear some like White Stripes influence
Right.
in some of my songs.
Awesome.
Um, Jack White is definitely like a big influence for me.
Yeah.
Um, so is Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters. His just kind of style of songwriting is very influential for me. I just think he writes like great songs,
That's
um,
amazing.
and he just has like a lot of energy in the way that he performs. Um,
So if we're
Definitely
looking at
someone I look
the
up to.
discography, we're probably looking
Yeah.
at Californication, which is 99.
Yep.
And that was probably the one that I got introduced to as well.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Great album.
yeah, absolutely. There's singles, Other Side, Scar Tissue.
Hmm. Hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I did a stream where I played the entire album front to back. Um,
Wow.
yeah. It's like about a year ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me try to see. They're not. Oh, the ratings are amazing except for like Los Angeles Times, Entertainment Weekly. Wait a minute. B plus, 6 out of 10.
Uh huh.
Interesting. So wait, I
Yeah.
have to know the why. Greater success worldwide,
Hmm.
drastically improved vocals, while the album as a whole was epiphanal.
Epiphanal.
There we go. And the further muckers are now moving forward funk's real holy grail. That's salty marriage. Okay, this is like a lot of words that I don't care about.
Words.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mighty Dope album would be a success, and Scar Tissue and Other Side would be chart toppers. So I'm not
Mhm.
really sure why. I don't know why they didn't like it. So, okay, Books was just saying you can very much hear that Red Hot Chili Peppers was inspired by the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jack.
That's a good one.
Yeah. um okay, so that's other side. You said you've played no, there's Californication. You said that
Hmm.
you've played the album front and back. That's so
Hmm.
is that something you think you'd do again, or do you think you'd pick a newer album?
I want to do either Audio Slave.
Okay.
That came out I think when I was in college, and it was definitely an influential album for me too.
Okay.
Um, at the time, I couldn't really sing like Chris Cornell, but I'm like I don't know I've like always aspired to, and I'm
Yeah.
like um, at some point I'd like to like work on my vocal cords, like my strength basically for singing and stamina, to get to the point where I could actually do the whole album from start to finish. Like I
That's
don't think
awesome.
even Chris would have been able to like really pull it off.
To do start to
Um,
finish.
yeah, yeah. But it's like something that I've kind of dreamed about. Um, all like I like all three Audio Slave albums though. I like Soundgarden as well. But like Audio Slave is like sort of the marriage of Soundgarden and Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And Rage Against the Machine is also another big influence for me. Um, was it the Battle of Los Angeles came out I think in 1999 also, and that was also like an influential album for me. Um,
Battle of Los Angeles 2001.
yeah, yeah. So that came out I think like my freshman year.
Oh, you were right. 99. I was reading the nominations.
Yeah, yeah.
You were right. I am sorry. But real quick, you. Oh, before when I was like, oh yeah, and I was all Rage Against the Machines. I didn't know you were gonna bring them up. That was.
Yeah,
I knew it. See,
yeah, yeah.
I knew it. So
Hold on, let me
Battle.
see if I can. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here it is.
mentalism. Oh
Ah,
wow.
yeah. So I thought about doing their first album, Rage Against the Machine,
Uh-huh.
also as like a stream. That would be really hard because well, having like the kind of energy that like Zach De La Rocha has is like it's hard. Like it wouldn't be hard for me in terms of like the kind of delivery of it, like the words. There's nothing really for me to sing,
Mm-hmm.
but really having that like kind of full on like actual rage would
Yeah.
be pretty demanding. I think
Let's see.
crabbing in the name of.
Revolutionary lyrical content. The album artwork was notable for featuring a graphic photograph of. I can't pronounce this person's name.
Yeah, he was a Buddhist monk who was protesting
Right.
during the Vietnam War.
That's right. Against the persecution of Buddhists by U.S. backed South Vietnamese government. And that was
Hmm.
November 3rd, same day as the 1992 United States presidential election.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
100 greatest metal albums of all time on Rolling Stones, rated number 24.
Hmm. Hmm.
And peaked number 1 on the Billboard Heatseekers chart, number 45 on the Billboard 200, and has gone to achieve triple platinum sales certifications.
Hmm.
One
Hmm.
of the best albums of the 1990s. I agree. It's a good
Yeah,
album.
yeah, yeah. It is.
It's a very
Um,
good album.
yeah, it's also considered like a benchmark for mixing. Um, it's just a very well mixed album, and I've heard that audio engineers will sometimes use the songs on the album as a way of like testing out sound systems to see like how well they sound, just
Wow.
because it's just widely considered to be like a very well produced album.
Yeah. I did not know
So
that.
yeah, yeah, that's like another kind of nerdy
No, give
like
me all the nerdy
music thing,
stuff. I
you know?
want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
so we've got musical influences.
mhm.
Now, how, and this may be a weird question to answer,
Mhm.
how do you learn a song in like 30 seconds? So
It's a good question.
I've given you songs that you have never heard of, and you're
Uh-huh.
just like, this sounds right. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. And I was like, what is
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
You are incredible. How did this occur? How did you realize you could do this?
Yeah. It's a lot of things. I mean, I have been doing music for a very long time.
Hmm.
So like I do have some expertise in it. Um, I've got some training with like music theory and stuff.
Okay.
So like ear training is like one thing that I've actually done a little bit of. Um, so like when I listen to stuff, I can like pick apart what the kind of different pitches are in relation to each other, and I can usually kind of reproduce them. So that's like a skill that you develop when you're learning music theory.
Okay.
It's really important for learning to analyze and understand music. Just being able to actually take something and like copy it
Yeah.
to like an instrument or to singing.
Note to
So
self: look up music theory stuff. I mean, that's epic. Go on.
yeah, yeah. So like sight singing is part of that. So like looking at notes and being able to sing. Dictation is where you listen to something and you turn it into like notes on a sheet of paper. So those are things that I've been kind of trained in doing.
That's awesome.
But I've done that like throughout my like musical career. I remember when I was a kid, um, we would oftentimes have like a lot of time to kill in like the church basement because I don't know my family was just like always in church, and so like we had like a piano like in the basement that I would like sometimes just like kind of tinker around on, and I would just try to play melodies that I'd heard on like TV shows or in movies. So it was like mostly like Disney movies when I was really little.
Of course.
So like I try to kind of figure out how to play the melody to like I don't know Under the Sea from Little Mermaid, which I play all the time now because Sensia keeps requesting it.
Fun
Uh,
fact, when I was in sixth grade, I sang Under the Sea because I was the only person that could do a semi Jamaican accent, and I had the lowest voice in the choir.
oh my god.
In sixth
Uh,
grade. I got made fun of so hard.
that's hilarious
Yeah, but go
because it's
on, I'm
awesome.
sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so that kind of helps. But really, for me, doing church music with church bands, I think it's sort of like the foundation for me being able to learn songs quickly, because I got like really thrown into um, this like situation where I just had to learn all this like new music very very quickly, and so I got a lot of practice with it. Um, and so the thing about learning like a high volume of music, you 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 start to see what some of the similarities are between kind of different songs. And like you can start kind of thinking about songs not as just like individual notes or things. It's like you see them more as like collections of like musical phrases or like big ideas.
Okay.
There's probably a lot of like analogies in like other creative fields.
Hmm.
Like when it comes to, like story writing, I'm sure like the like mechanics of like writing a conversation um, become like second nature to experienced writers, and they think more about like, okay, like what is like the overall arc of the story as opposed to like what are the words that they're going to say.
Right.
um
That makes
if
sense.
you're yeah if you're like an athlete, you know if you're like a soccer player or a basketball player, there are just certain things that just come like very naturally to you, so you're not really thinking about like actual like tactical things that you're doing. You're more thinking about like the big picture, like um what's going on like in the entire game or the entire competition.
That's an excellent way
um
to put it.
I've been coming across this a little bit with dance actually. I'm trying to get better at dancing, and it's really hard for me because I'm still stuck in the like just trying to like figure out how to move my body and do like individual things.
Hmm.
And I really feel like a beginner musician in that way. Like I'm still just learning my scales and like learning what the notes are.
Right.
Um,
What kind of
whereas that's not
dance?
so. Yeah, yeah.
What kind of dance?
Um, all kinds of stuff. I let's see here. I play Just Dance with Alex sometimes.
Yes.
Um, sometimes we do like like dance workout videos
Okay.
to kind of warm up for like for workouts. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. I'd love to learn how to do things like the shuffle or I don't know, other kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um, Dancing is just like a lot of fun. It's just not something that I ever did when I was a kid.
Right.
Um, and I want to feel like more comfortable moving my body because I always have fun when I'm dancing, but I always feel like I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. You know,
Amen.
can I do the twist? Can you mash potatoes? Like, how do you mash potatoes? Is it like this? It kind of looks like I'm like shaking my fist,
It
when I'm
does.
doing it.
And the power
Yeah,
to the potato.
yeah.
Yeah.
Twist is this how you twist? Sensia needs to show me how to do all these things.
Yeah, I need exactly. There should be a back and forth between you two on like how to do the twist and mashed potato.
Yeah,
I'd
Info
watch
makes
that.
a good point too. Jack saying what I'm describing is chunking, basically.
Okay.
How chess masters can replicate boards after seeing them for like 5 seconds. Yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm doing when I'm live learning. Like I'm not thinking like individual notes. I'm like, okay, I've already got the chords in front of me. I'm not thinking like, how am I going to play this? I'm thinking, okay, I've already done tons of songs that are like this before.
Mhm.
How many sections does a song have? Roughly, how does the melody go? What are like the things that are like really really important to the song that like make it the song?
Right.
Um, and then I can sort of like fill in the blanks for everything else.
Yeah.
Um, so that's how I do live learns very very fast.
Mhm.
If I have like a little bit of time to like actually listen to something one time fully through, that's usually enough for me to like get the gist of what the song is going to be like.
Now, do you find that if you're playing a song that you've live learned, right, and you put it in your list, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have to play that song again,
Mm-hmm.
how does that feel for you? Do you feel like you're gonna go on a completely different angle with it based on the day? Do you feel like it's gonna take hold and you know it better, so you're gonna do it not better, but you know it as the song sounds on a recording, so you're gonna do it more like the recording? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So if it makes it to my song list, I'm usually gonna make an attempt, and it usually means that I'm comfortable enough with the song that I can at least come up with something that's like listenable.
Right.
I do sometimes cheat by like listening to the song as I'm like building it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's something that I kind of like hide from the viewers. Like the
Yeah.
viewers can usually only just see me kind of doing my thing with my
Yeah.
keyboards and my loop machine. Um,
I don't consider that cheating. I consider that like an aid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, yeah. Cheating probably isn't really the right way of thinking of it. Um, and what I usually need to know is like um how does each like musical phrase start? Like how does the chorus go roughly?
Right.
How does the verse go? Is there like an important like musical riff or musical idea that I should try to replicate and try to not just like kind of completely fake? um uh Let me see. Yeah, usually if I'm putting it on my song list after I've live learned it, it's because I just like the song, and
Okay.
I'm like I kind of want to try it again, and maybe I'll do it better next time.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I like to experiment. I do like to try different kinds of arrangements, playing things in like different styles. I'm pretty comfortable playing like a wide variety of different kinds of styles of music, and I think it's a lot more fun when an artist puts like their own spin on something as opposed to trying to like replicate it exactly.
Yep.
It's like what makes live music more interesting, I think, than um, karaoke. Like in general, I find watching people performing live to be more entertaining than karaoke. Although I guess it kind of depends. Sometimes karaoke is actually really really fun when
Yeah.
it's like, especially when like people are a little bit more inebriated and like it's like really bad, but like you're with good company. You know, sometimes it can be fun that way.
I agree. But yeah, I mean, especially people who are doing music on Twitch, you want to have a unique sound rather than the recording studio sound, just to
Hmm.
give
Hmm.
your viewers something to talk about, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
appreciate.
yeah.
So,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, We've been talking a lot about Twitch, so let's go ahead and talk about Twitch. That's
Hmm.
funny. As I started to type Twitch, it wanted to do Twitter, and there's a big
Yeah,
X symbol. We were
yeah.
talking about Twitter earlier, or
Oh
X,
my God,
and
X.
how we just don't use it.
Oh, I hate it.
Bye, Alex.
Why did they want to ruin the thing? Have a good night, Alex. Hope you have a good time.
Um, but yeah, okay. So it doesn't know what kind of Twitch I want. Let's do the service. There we go. It's
Yeah,
like, do you want twitching? Do you want no? I want the service, please.
yeah, yeah.
I quit X before it was X. Does that make you cool, Alki? If you quit X before it was X?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
it
it
does.
does. Yes, that was the answer. Okay, so we've got Twitch here. You said you started in 2021. You previously streamed through YouTube.
I actually only did like pre-recorded stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
I actually I actually live streamed on Reddit before doing Twitch. So I found out about Twitch through Reddit because some people would stream on Reddit and then they would stream on Twitch afterwards.
Okay. I didn't even know you could stream on Reddit.
You can't anymore. It was a very short-lived thing.
Got it.
Um, it was a very different vibe compared to Twitch.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so like I didn't have things like a streamer song list on my Reddit stream,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no real way to like easily follow people on Reddit or like figure out when they were going live.
Got
You
it.
wouldn't get any notifications. It was just like you're just kind of browsing through like public access. It's like
Okay.
basically the vibe of Reddit.
Hmm.
So it was very like laid back, very relaxed. It was vertical, kind of like TikTok streams are. Um, it's mostly people streaming on their phones.
Okay.
Although you would get some people figure like using OBS sometimes and having like fancy stuff. Um, but I found out about music on Twitch through spending time on the Reddit live stream platform. People usually like do a short stream on Reddit, and then they would do a long stream on Twitch
Okay.
afterwards.
Like a promotion sort of thing, like we do with Reels and all that other stuff now. Just promo stuff.
Basically, yeah, yeah. Um, and uh, it was fun. I had some moments where I definitely had like a lot of people watching my stream because they didn't really have like a raid system. You would just get booted into whatever the next biggest channel was at the time.
Right?
So like sometimes you just get lucky and like if there was a very popular stream before you, like you just get booted into there.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
um, you just get all their viewers for kind of um, without any kind of decision being made by the actual streamer.
Okay. Sounds like the
Um,
Wild West.
yeah, yeah, it was kind of a Wild West. I don't know, like it was it was fun, but like I definitely didn't get as much like community like engagement and development. Um, I think maybe like one or two people would see me like after having me go live, but I didn't have like a schedule or anything. I just kind of went live whenever,
Right.
and the streams would be very short. Like I'd only go for like 30 minutes, 40. I think 45 minutes was the max, unless like people tipped you, and you could extend the stream. So,
Interesting.
sometimes I'd even do two streams back to back.
Okay.
Um, yeah, less stalkers like me. Yeah, yeah. I do see your question, by the way, Books, Booze, and Booze. I'll get to your question about the song in a second. Uh, yeah, so I switched over to Twitch once I felt like I was more ready
Mm-hmm.
to like really seriously invest in this live stream thing. I had this moment where I was like, do I really want to keep doing this YouTube thing? Like, I'm getting some people to watch my stuff, but this live stream thing is actually more fun. Like, I get to talk to people. They get to request songs. It's kind of fun. And so I spent some time on Twitch watching music streamers kind of do what it is they did. And I was like, oh wow, okay, so this actually is pretty cool. Like you can actually develop a following, you can develop fans. There's more connection. I got very involved in certain music communities at the time. There's some really amazing musicians who migrated over to Twitch because they couldn't perform live anymore.
Okay.
And so during the pandemic, there was just this like influx of talent that I felt like I got to see. I don't know what people who've been on Twitch longer would say about this, but I definitely feel like the pandemic kind of uh, was sort of this like special moment where suddenly there was just like this like really really high concentration of just like really amazing talented people just like doing
Busting
their
through the
thing.
door. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, we were all just spending a lot more time at home during that time, and we had a lot more money to burn and stuff, and so uh,
It was the
it
best of
was
times. It was the worst of times.
that's a very good way of putting it. Yeah, yeah. So I spent a lot of time on Twitch watching people, and I also spent a lot of time streaming myself. Um, and so like it started off with me just doing what I was doing on YouTube, but on Twitch. And so I had like certain songs that were part of my YouTube list, songs that I was very comfortable with.
Hmm.
Like in those early days, I mostly would just use my stream as like a kind of like a practice time, except with like occasional people
Right.
to talk to because my channel was like super super small. And I didn't really have any connections. Like there's like some streamers who like get into it and like they've got like their friends who are there or like they've been in another community for a while and so they get other people in. But like I started my channel like 2 weeks after spending like some significant time on Twitch. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna start doing this
Here we
and
go. Yeah.
yeah, we'll just see where it takes us. Um, and so you know, like you can look through my song list and you can see like um kind of like a like like a snapshot of like which songs like oftentimes get requested and which ones like don't really get requested a whole lot.
Hmm.
Like I remember when I was setting up my song list, I think I only had like maybe like 50 or 60 or something songs, you know, and like oftentimes I was just like playing the same songs over and over and over again, which is
Right.
kind of refining it. Um, and then over time, I started adding kind of more stuff as I saw what other people were doing. I did have live looping when I started off, but I wasn't live looping everything.
Okay.
I eventually got to the point where live looping was a very big part of my stream. I started doing live learns also because I saw people doing it. And I was like, oh wow, this is something that you can't do
Right.
at a live show. This is actually pretty fun. It became a big part of my channel, learning songs that I didn't know. Um, and yeah, just as I spent more time in other people's channels, people started to get to know me more. People started checking out my channel. Eventually, people would start to discover me either through like me rating or people rating in.
Hmm.
Sometimes people recommend me, and then like people would be like, "Oh wow, like this Delta Crab person's like pretty cool." You know,
Hmm.
I'm gonna spend more time on their channel. I've definitely had that happen for me too. You know, sometimes I just like come across someone that's like pretty cool and I just end up becoming like a big part of their community as well.
Yeah, the recommended channels can sometimes be really amazing.
Hmm.
I've
Hmm.
found several channels that I'm like, all right, I cave. You know, what's this trying to promote to me? And then I click on it and I'm like, wow, I really
Hmm.
jive
Hmm.
here. Or I go, okay, I'm gonna send a raid over to someone who's for me playing the same game as I am. And you go and
Hmm.
you look at like how many people do I really want to raid into? Do I want to raid into somebody where I'm going to get lost, or do I want to raid into somebody who like needs the viewers? And
Hmm.
then you
Hmm.
end up meeting a completely new streamer who absolutely adores you and you adore them, and then your communities
Hmm.
clash and that's how it explodes, you know. And it's just kind of like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
brother sisterhood, this hood of people in Twitch.
yeah, yeah. Like rating honestly is like one of the best features I feel of Twitch. Like they don't really have that in other live streaming platforms. Like um, as far as I know, at least, they didn't have that on Facebook or YouTube, and they definitely didn't have that on Reddit.
No.
I don't know if they have that on any of the new ones, but
I don't know if they had it on Mixer. They might have, but
mm, mm. But uh, what makes Twitch for me is the community, really. That's what stands out to me about it as kind of a platform. Making music and being connected to a community, not just being like somebody kind of performing and like trying to get people um, to just kind of watch you.
Or just like,
Also getting
comment,
people,
subscribe kind of thing, that model where
yeah,
it's very, closed off.
yeah. It's the real time interaction. It's people like talking to you. It's you getting to know them getting to know you.
Hmm.
That's what makes Twitch fun for me. That's why I always enjoy streaming. Like almost always, I should say. Every now and then I'll have like a really really bad stream. I'm like, that was like pretty terrible. Um, but that's very very rare these days. I think the last time I felt that way was like maybe like years ago, like when I was
Okay.
like initially starting. Um,
Now tell me where, this is a side question that was not on your list.
mhm.
Tell me where Beta Crab came from.
Oh yeah.
It's like this like this thing about Beta Crab I just absolutely fell in love with, and I think
uh
that I would
Yeah.
like an explanation.
Yeah. Hell. Yeah. I went into hell and found him.
Yeah.
So like my channel is like a mix of like a music channel, but also it's kind of like a it's kind of a just chatting like stream in some ways. There's an element of like talk show to it.
Yeah.
And there's also like a comedy kind of show aspect to it as well. Like I really love like making people laugh, joking around with people. And uh so I think one of the things that I thought of was how some streamers have like pets or like other people that like are on their stream. Like I know that like, it for talk shows, it's fun to have like a co-host, somebody that you can like talk with,
Right.
as opposed to just being the only person talking all the time. Um, and so like I was thinking about that idea like, when I decided to ask Beta Crab to come into my stream. I was like, oh, like so how could I incorporate like a pet or like just somebody else to be in my stream? And then just like the idea just like came to me. I was like, oh, like why don't I just get a mannequin and I can like dress him up and I can like pretend that he's like talking to me and stuff. It'll be so funny. And it kind of like took on a life of its own. Like I thought it would just be this like kind of funny, like kind of gaggy sort of thing that I would maybe use every now and then. But like people like were like very, very um like intrigued by this addition to my stream. Some people would be scared off by it, honestly. Like they were like, I don't want to watch this guy. He's got a creepy mannequin like in his stream. Other people like I think only watch my stream because of Beta Crab. Like if I just changed my channel to like Beta Crab music, like they probably would have liked the channel even more. you know? Um yeah, he became just another aspect of like the like musical comedy like entertainment that I was doing. Sometimes I would have these like segments where I would have him like sing a verse, or like if we had like a duet song that I was doing, I'd have him do like the duet part, and it was just like kind of a fun sort of thing to do. It
Right.
eventually evolved into like him being involved in like special events that we had. So like there was like the Halloween stream that I did with the Mesosphere, Baron the Bard, Destiny
Hmm.
Guerra, where Beta Crab ended up being like the person who like murders all of the streamers. We had
That's
this like
right.
very very intricate plan thing. It's funny. I was in Nick Black's stream and he's like he was writing like a Halloween song, and I was like, oh man, like are we already doing Halloween songs right now? It's like 2 months out, and he's like, no, like you got to plan like this early if you want to do something. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's right. Like I'm pretty sure I was talking to the Mesosphere about um, this whole idea of Beta Crab killing us, like way back in like I don't know June or July of that year. Uh, anyway,
And it came to be.
he, yeah, he also streamed one time. I got a green suit and I set up my stream so that it had a green screen in the background. So all you could see was just Beta Crab, and I'd kind of like move him with my hands, so it was like he was alive. And he played songs off of my song list. We did it as like a celebration stream. It was hilarious.
That is
It was
great.
yeah. Yeah, and there was the purgatory. Okay, so like after Beta Crab killed everybody for the Halloween stream, we raided everybody into Beta Crab's channel, and I just left Beta Crab on in like a room with like a red light that was like moving, and it was just on like overnight, and like it was like the Mesosphere died, right? Like
Right.
there's this like pre-recorded sequence where he like just appears out of nowhere. Like he Boyan actually got another mannequin that looked kind of like Beta Crab. So it was like this big surprise because like people know that there's Beta Crab here, right?
Right.
And he killed me in my stream. But then people were not expecting him to also kill Boyan. And so like he kills him at the end, and then there's another shot of him killing Destiny that's like, you know, supposed to be like this other part of it.
Right.
And then you find out that Baron is like behind the whole plot of it. He's like been trying to kill us with Beta Crab also. And so like this is all happening, and then like it just raids into Beta Crab, and he's just like there, like stoically kind of staring off with this like really creepy red light, and there's like really creepy music that's just like looping. And we just left people there overnight, and like people were like saying, oh, it'd be so creepy if like if Beta Crab moved, or like, oh, I think I saw him like blink his eye. And so like what I did was I'd like crawled under, and I like started moving him a little bit like at like random intervals, and people would like go ballistic, like absolutely ballistic. They'd be like, oh my god, did you see that?
Oh god, that's great.
Yeah, we all freaking stayed. Yeah, so some people stayed the entire night. I was like, oh my god, this is intense. Like I literally just left it on and I just went to bed. I woke up and people were still in the stream chatting.
Oh my
was...
god.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Good for you, man. That is a great story, and that is a great way to interact with your community.
Yeah.
Fell asleep.
It was the best. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, like the four of us were chatting about it like afterwards. You know, we were like sort of like high-fiving each other like in the Discord, and
right.
like oh my god, it was such a great night. Like I wouldn't have ever thought of like doing something like that. Yeah. Like doing like a intricate like multi-stream like raid train event where there's like an actual sort of mystery involved.
Yeah, that's a great way to not only have like fun with your friends, but also like to be able to interact with your community in a completely different way, right? Because you're doing music and you've got music to do and all that stuff, but you've also got to focus on Beta Crab now you've got this other intricate thing that you have moving parts for, and that makes it all the more new and fun and unique, and I think that's great. Good on you. Yeah.
So anyway, I've let Beta Crab go on vacation with Betty, his new partner.
Okay.
My mods got me another mannequin.
Of course.
for I think it was like my stream anniversary.
Okay.
And or was it my birthday? I don't remember anymore. There's been so many celebrations that I've had on stream. And there was a point where like I was like dressing two mannequins and like also dressing myself. It was like getting kind of insane, you know. I was like going to the thrift store and I was like buying clothes for like my mannequin. I was like, oh, like Betty would look like pretty cool on this. Anyway, I've like kind of recently decided to do music full time. I was like teaching while also streaming, and this summer I decided to like basically bet on myself and go all in on this this passion of mine that I've had for my whole life. That's I think part of me kind of thinking about that was I wanted to have my channel be kind of a little bit more focused on what it is that I want to do with my music right now, which is like do a lot more production stuff. Mm-hmm. And so part of me doing that was deciding to give a Beta Crab and Betty like a little vacation for my stream, right. And kind of have the channel be a little bit more focused on me for a time. So people who are like joining my channel now will probably not really understand any of the Beta Crab humor, but like he used to be a very big part of my stream.
Of course.
But you know, I think there were some people. I was like kind of joking about this before, but like there really were some people who like mostly like my channel just because of like the like goofy stuff that I do,
Right.
and like all the like kind of jokes and like the weird plastic dude. Um,
So is that why
and
it went from Delta Crab to Delta Crab Music? Is that what you kind of changed it so that way you kind of had that fresh mindset?
yeah, yeah, that's part of it. I think like humor and comedy is it's always going to be a part of my brand. But I do want people to get to also know more about like the original stuff that I'm doing, know more about the kind of stuff that I'm capable of doing when I'm in my like digital audio workstation doing stuff. Um, uh, I do want to like grow the music side, I guess, of my channel, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know,
Yeah.
I'm streaming more often. I'm really trying to make an effort to grow my kind of following. Um, uh, Trying to grow my catalog of stuff that I can show people. I really want to spend more time collaborating with other musicians. I feel like there's just so many talented people on Twitch that like are hungry to like work with other people. Um, and I feel like I'm kind of at a stage now where I have the time where I can really do that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's an awesome, awesome Delta Crab story, man. That's
Yeah.
the beginnings and current of Delta Crab. Um, and we are an hour in, and I barely talked about anything on your list, and I'm totally cool with that because
Yeah.
I think you are so freaking interesting. So,
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
yeah, yeah, everything out of your mouth has been gold. You've done
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So you were talking about thrift shops, so I figured this is a great segue.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now on Wikipedia they call them charity shops. I didn't know that the
Okay.
first time I typed that in, and so it kept taking me to Thrift Shop by the song Macklemore and Ryan Lewis.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, naturally, but charity shop is what we're going for. So you have thrift stores on here. Did you start going to thrift stores because of Beta Crab, or did you just be like, you've always been to thrift stores?
I guess I've always liked thrift stores, but it wasn't really until streaming that like I really wanted um, to where I had a reason to go more often to thrift stores, and I like really kind of fell in love with going to thrift stores. Um, so Books is asking are the mannequins in my closet. They're on vacation. Books, okay? They're not in my closet. They're not like in my basement covered up in plastic in the corner. All right, they're like probably on some beach somewhere. All right, all right.
Stop asking. Stop
um,
asking.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think seeing mannequins in the thrift store actually was like part of the inspiration for me.
Okay.
Um, anyway, I think like because I was just spending a lot more time on camera, um, I quickly realized like I don't want to just wear the same like clothes that I'm always wearing all the time like when I'm streaming. So uh, once I um, once I moved to the space that I'm in right now, I started going to the local thrift store like very often, and I just started like accumulating clothes for wearing on the stream, and I sort of like changed my look uh, through the course of streaming. Actually, people remember that I used to have like short hair. I used to not like really know how to dress myself that well. Um, you know, I didn't really have like interesting clothes that I wore. But like streaming sort of like forced me to think, like, okay, like I want to make I want to make like the thumbnail for my stream look like interesting when people are just kind of scrolling and browsing.
Yeah.
And so I started off with like trying to find shirts that had like brands on them, I guess. Like I have like a lot of video game and like anime t-shirts, which is like sort of like what like a lot of people on Twitch like. So every now and then, like, you know, I'll have like I don't know, like a Mario shirt, and then people are like, oh, like I love Mario, or I'll have like a Kirby shirt and be like, I love Kirby, you know.
Right. And that's something
Um,
to talk about.
yeah, yeah. Like I've got a lot of Star Wars shirts also. People might know that I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I should have put Star Wars on that list, by the way.
We can talk about Star Wars for
Yeah.
sure.
Uh, so yeah, so there's that. Like pretty soon, like it got to the point where I was just going to my thrift store like every week, just to just kind of see what was there. And I just like started accumulating more and more clothes, and then like getting a mannequin just sort of gave me more of an excuse to like just get even more
More
clothes,
clothes.
you know.
Yeah.
And like thrift stores are great because like you can actually like accumulate like a pretty big volume, I guess, of them without like breaking your bank.
Right.
And there's also just something fun about like trying to find stuff that like people have decided like isn't for them anymore for whatever reason. Whether it's like they don't fit the clothes anymore, or there's like some sort of blemish on them, or maybe like it's not their style.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
I've
thrift
definitely
shops are
found
a lot of
some.
fun.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and yeah, so okay, so there's this one thrift store hack that I recently discovered.
Okay.
And this happened because I was getting clothes for Betty, the female mannequin.
Yes.
If you go into the women's section as like um as a guy looking for like shirts for yourself, if you go into the t-shirt section, sometimes you can find some like shirts that are like really really cool, that are like unisex or maybe just like miscategorized.
Right.
Um, so like this is just not something that I ever would have done kind of on my own, I guess, when I
Right.
go
Traveled
go
over to
clothes
the
shopping for
women's
myself.
section and been like, oh yeah, this definitely is what I need. Yeah, Betty
Yeah, yeah,
definitely helped you understand that new style.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know. I actually find like looking at the clothes in the women's section to be more interesting now than the men's section. Like there's I've gotten a lot of stuff actually from the women's section for like my stream.
Nice.
I've been getting more like collared shirts and stuff, stuff that's like very kind of fancy.
Mhm.
Um, I went to the Graceland Museum in Memphis when I was living there, and I learned that Elvis was really big on being like as flashy as possible and like having as much presence whenever he was performing. And like a big part of that was like dressing in a very like flashy, flamboyant sort of way.
Mhm.
And um, I remember after kind of going to the museum and like listening to him talking about it and just kind of seeing him kind of performing. It had like a big influence on me. It like kind of made me think, oh, like I should do this too. You know, I should try to find stuff that like really makes me stand out. Um, and so that's like my thrift store hack for
Yeah.
all the guys out there. You should try checking out the women's section because there might be some things in there that like um, actually look really really good on you, that you just wouldn't have given a shot. You know,
And I frequently
Infojat,
go over
like
to
it. Yeah.
the men's section just to see because sometimes the women's section just doesn't have like the size that I'm looking for, or maybe I'm just looking for an oversized t-shirt for bed. And you
Mhm.
could just go over to the men's section and be like, "Oh, exactly. This is really dull. Like I can wear this to sleep." So it's a
Yeah, yeah,
3XL. Like let's do this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I've like found some loungewear there. I found some good like holiday themed stuff.
Yes.
I got like Christmas PJs, I think, from my thrift store that I put on like Beta Crab. Um, I found hats. I don't know if I have any here. Like I found this like massive like sombrero um, from a thrift store. It was pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
it's like really hard to like play music with it on though because I'm always like bumping into things
Bumping.
with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um okay, so we'll veer into Star Wars, and then have a I really want to know more about cooperative board games because I'm a big board game player, specifically
Oh no
cooperative.
way! Really?
Um
Okay.
yes. So, but let's talk about Star Wars first.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Huge fan of the franchise. I watched the movies when I was a kid. Just love the universe. I read a lot of like Star Wars novels when I was a kid, and I played like Star Wars video games. I remember when like the Phantom Menace came out. I was in middle school. It was super super exciting. I remember I went with like my sister for like the um, I think it was like a morning matinee show.
Okay.
I think like my mom like dropped me off with my sister and we watched it and I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I've just been like a big fan of the whole franchise like for most of my life. I've watched all the movies. I've watched most of the shows.
What's the one that's
Some
coming out in okay or
Ahsoka. Yeah,
Ahsoka. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I don't
Ahsoka.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
I knew it said an A and there was an O.
yeah. Anoke is close enough. Yeah.
Okay. Ahsoka.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna call her Anoke now.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Anyways. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Ahsoka's coming out. I like keep like unsubscribing from my Disney Plus and then resubscribing whenever like a new Star Wars show comes out.
That's funny.
I did that for like Andor, which is, oh my god, Andor was such a great show.
Yeah.
I can't stop raving about it. Yeah, Book of Fett was killer. Yeah, yeah, I like Book of Fett. Like the whole Mandalorian series, honestly, has been like fantastic.
Yeah, my husband was
Um,
very pleased with the Mandalorian series for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
have you
There's like a
been
lot of
down
like,
to the place, the what is it, Orlando that has the Star Wars stuff? Have you been
mhm,
down?
yeah.
You have?
I haven't yet
Okay.
actually. I'd love to go to yeah, like the what is it, the Outer Rim
I think so.
thing that they have there. Uh, let's see. I think my kids went to the Star Wars section in Disneyland a long time ago when they were like very very little. Um, but I haven't actually been to like any theme parks in a very very long time. So going to a Star Wars like to the Star Wars theme parks would be like really fun. But I kind of feel like I wouldn't really enjoy going with like people who weren't Star Wars fans.
Right.
You know, like people who aren't like as like into it as I was, or I am currently, I guess.
So I'm looking
Um,
here, theme park attractions, and we've got themed hotel currently under discussion at Walt Disney World.
Galaxy's Edge is what it's called. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Disneyland Paris. I don't care about all this. Rise of the Resistance, Hollywood Studios, Disneyland. So
Mm-mm.
these are all the theme park attractions. Oh, they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
go in order. Yes, they do. They go in order. So there's the Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, Galaxy's Edge, like you were talking about.
Hmm, hmm.
But yeah, this is Hyperspace Mountain. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to Orlando tomorrow at 3 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh no way! Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so
And so
yeah.
I was thinking about going to this area. It's going to be 98 degrees for 4 days straight, and
Oh, okay.
so it's
Ugh.
like a big question for me because I can't sweat. So
Mm-mm.
it's a big question, but it's something that we're looking into because my friend Becca is very interested in the Star Wars franchise.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, that's why I was curious because I was like, I'm going to Orlando tomorrow. What do you you should go to Orlando too and get to Star
Mm.
Wars.
Yeah, yeah. Orlando's better, I think, in like the winter,
Oh yeah,
like Florida in
January.
general.
Let's do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh, I've been to Orlando before in the summer. It like I remember it being super super hot.
Yeah.
I think I went to Disney World when I was like 8 or 9. I remember sweating like the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ben
Yeah,
says the cruise looks fun too. I didn't even know there was a cruise.
we had to make sure that we kept my dad like spritzed because it was so
Yeah,
hot.
yeah.
Because he couldn't sweat, and so like we had to keep him spritzed the whole time, or like go into buildings and get air conditioning constantly. But other than that, it was super fun. I loved
Mhm.
Disneyland, Disney World, Disneyland. Which one's the one in Florida?
Disney World, I think, is the
Okay,
Florida one.
got it, got
Yeah.
it, got it. Um, okay, so let's talk about cooperative board games.
Mm, mm.
What's your game of choice, sir?
So I started playing Frosthaven this summer,
Okay.
which is the sequel to Gloomhaven.
Yep.
Um, so like Gloomhaven is widely considered like one of the best board games kind of out there. It's like massive in scope.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of like a video game in like cardboard form, um, like a um, like a card based tactical role playing game.
Okay. Playing time
Uh,
90 to 115 minutes per scenario.
yeah, yeah. And I played that basically straight through. I didn't like unlock like all of the stuff that's in it, but I did basically play through the entire story
Okay.
with my kids, which was like really really fun. So I backed Frosthaven when it came out, or when they announced that they were going to make it,
Okay.
and I think it was supposed to be released a couple years ago, but you know, pandemic,
Right.
that kind of stuff. So um, I got my copy of it in the spring, and it's sitting at Alex's house in Vancouver right now. I'm just kind of waiting to get like a play group that actually wants to kind of commit to playing it every week,
Yeah.
because it is like pretty. It's pretty involved. It's sort of like Dungeons and Dragons in a way, in that like you have to have like a little bit of commitment. You can't just like kind of drop in, I
Yeah.
guess. But it's a little bit less like having to like make up your story kind of thing, and a little bit more just like killing monsters and like kind of having fun.
Right. Yeah, 2020, it was campaign reached 13 million, making it the highest ever funded campaign for a game on the platform from 83,000 backers.
Yep, one of them
Um,
was me.
and then Frosthaven was scheduled to ship for Kickstarter backwards September 2022.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, so that's I guess like what I've currently been playing. Some of my favorite cooperative board games that I've played before.
Mm-hmm.
I really love the Pandemic series.
Yes,
The original Pandemic.
100%.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
great, amazing game. And I love all the other games that I think it's Matt Leacock did it.
Yes.
There's like what is it? Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert. I haven't played Forbidden Sky before. I'd probably like that. Um,
Let's see. Pandemic, Forbidden Island, Thunderbirds, Chariot Race, Space Escape, more
yeah, he's made
Daybreak,
a lot.
and Forbidden Jungle.
Hmm.
He's done a
I
lot of
didn't know that there was a.
pandemic ones.
Yeah. There's tons of Pandemic games. I've played the Legacy games, which are also really really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really loved season 2 of Pandemic actually. It was a very like unique pandemic experience for me.
Season 2 released October 2017. Logical continuation from Season 1. The board game is set to devastate Earth 71 years after Season 1. The Virgin changes the basic rules enough to where the prologue tutorial game is included in the campaign so that players can learn the new mechanics, which includes discovery aspect.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like I'm like maybe giving away like a little bit of it, but I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's a board game.
Well, yeah. Like in the typical pandemic games, like you can see the entire world, right?
Right.
But in season 2, you only start off being able to see a certain portion of the world, and like the rest of the world gets like revealed through like stickers getting placed onto the board as you go.
Okay.
And it's like it's a very different take on the game. Some people didn't really like it that much because it was so different. Um, but I don't know. I've always loved uh, people that like take creative risks
Mm-hmm.
and do things that are like very very different. Like I have like just the thing where I just find that to be like really cool.
Yeah.
I really love season 2. It's great.
I'll have to look into that. Yeah, instead of disease being represented in cubes, the goal is to minimize the number of disease cubes placed. Different cubes represent supplies, and disease starts spreading if supplies dwindle too low.
Hmm.
And there's a
Yeah,
prequel, Season 0. That's crazy.
yeah. It's yeah. What was it? It's like it takes place like in the past, I guess.
Yeah, it's Cold War.
Okay, yeah. It's like kind of like I've heard it's like a little bit like less heavy. It's like a little bit kind of goofier, I guess.
Okay.
But I would like to play that too. I just don't really know if anybody would want to play it if they hadn't played season 1 and season 2.
Right.
So and I played a lot of board games with my kids when they were younger. I don't know if they'd want to play the new season of Pandemic anymore. They've sort of moved on from board games. Like these days, they mostly play games like Valorant and like Fortnite and like other stuff. So,
Makes
you know,
sense. Yeah.
um, let's
Um,
see.
okay, so
Uh,
yeah, whatever. I'm trying to think of other cooperative board games because Pandemic came up for sure in my.
mhm, mhm.
Um,
I really want to play Spirit Island. I've
okay.
heard great things about that game.
Spirit Island. Okay. Let's see.
Um,
What's the one? No, Settlers of Catan isn't co-op. Um,
that's definitely competitive. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. But I was trying to think of there's a Clank.
Clank. Yeah, yeah.
That's a really
Um,
good one.
yeah. What's the other one?
Because I was thinking about the
Mysterium is another one that's
cubes.
kind of fun. Um, it's like you're like trying to like communicate to like a ghost, I guess. Is
Okay.
like sort of the premise of it.
Okay.
Um,
There is
I'm
one
trying to think of what
other
else.
one that has to do with a monster in the middle, basically, and then you have to go through as a team and defeat the monsters as you get more towards the castle. Monster Castle.
Um, is it was it Castle Panic? Is it?
Castle
Uh,
Panic. That's the
yeah.
one.
I've never actually played that game before.
Oh, it's fun, especially co-op. You could play by yourself too. That's what I really love about it. It's like 1 to 4 players, and you're just like, I could
Okay.
play this game by myself. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, Ghost Stories is a game that I played before.
Okay.
It's kind of an older one. I played this game called Space Alert, which is also co-op.
Okay.
Um, it's like a real-time co-op game, which is like kind of interesting. Um,
Hmm.
it's made by like a pretty famous or famous in the board game world, but
Right.
like well-known board game designer Vlada Chital or
What does he
something.
say? It's Ghost Stories?
Space Alert is the one that
Space
I'm talking
Alert.
about. Ghost Ghost Stories is a fun game too. It's like a like it's also a cooperative game where you're yeah. I don't exactly know how to pronounce his name.
Vlada Chivato.
Javatil, yeah,
Chavatil.
yeah. He's the one that did Code Names, I think. Yeah,
I love code. Yep, code names.
yep, yep.
Through the Ages.
I've heard Galaxy Trucker is really fun too.
Galaxy Trucker.
Um, I'm a big fan of board games in general. My kids actually prefer like competitive games. They actually really love war games.
Okay.
Um, I just particularly love cooperative games. It's not something that I grew up with. And like once I discovered them, I was like, oh, this is like so great.
Yeah.
This is like everything that I ever wanted, like in a board game experience, um, that I never got to have as a kid. Um,
That's excellent.
so like non-cooperative board games that I really like. We really liked playing Scythe when we used to play board games a lot.
Okay.
That's a Stonemeyer Games game. Um, they're the same people that did Wingspan.
Okay.
Um, what else did they do? Viticulture is also another fun one. Yeah. I have all the stuff for Scythe. It's such a fun game. It takes place in this like steampunk World War One kind of era version of like Eastern Europe, and
Interesting.
it's like sort of like Catan in that there's like kind of an economic component, but there's also this like war game aspect of it where you're kind of fighting.
Yeah.
Um, but there's also like mechs and I don't know, like other stuff like that. So it's a very fun game.
Yeah. That sounds fun. I was looking at the quick reads on it.
Yeah, yeah. So there's like a legacy expansion for it that I remember we played, which like adds like new stuff to it. I remember having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Board games are so
Uh,
fun. I agree. Books.
Root is another like board game like series that I really liked.
Okay.
So it's like a very cutthroat board game war game, but it has like the cutest theme to it. It's like woodland creatures like fighting each
Uh-huh.
other.
Yeah.
The art is like beautiful. Yeah.
What about Bang?
Bang. I've never played it before.
It is
Um,
oh, I put it, yeah, I put Bang. This one. No, that's not it. That's just definitely not it. Bang game. No, not Bong game. Oh
the
my
Bong game.
god.
Also another fun game, I guess.
Yeah, they don't have
Bangladesh.
it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Bang card game. That was my mistake. So it's a card game, but it's a board game, but it's a card game.
Yeah, I've seen this before, but I've never played it before.
It's a lot of fun. Somebody's the sheriff, somebody's the deputy, somebody's an outlaw, somebody's a renegade, and you don't know who's who except for knowing, I think, who the sheriff is. And so you
Okay.
go around and you have to figure out who's, and then bang, and then who's got the bullets, and then who killed him. It's awesome. I have a giant
Mhm.
bullet that has all the expansions in it. It's
Oh, no way.
a great game.
Okay. Are you a fan of like westerns in general?
Uh, yeah, For the
Okay.
most part.
There's a game called Great Western Trail that's supposed to be like amazing. Um, um, yeah.
Oh, they have
There's
meeples. I love the games that have meeples.
yeah. There's a board game channel called Shut Up and Sit Down that
Okay.
I like watching, and I get a lot of like board game recommendations from them. They're
What
the ones that introduced me to Captain Sonar, which is like a like submarine battle game.
what's
Uh,
the guy from Wheaton, Will Wheaton,
Will Wheaton,
has
yeah.
his
So he
own game
had
channel.
yeah. He had a channel called like Tabletop, I think. That was
Tabletop,
like
and that's where I learned
yeah.
about all my games.
Oh yeah. So that's where I learned about Takenoko, which
Mm-hmm.
like my daughter
Yeah.
really loved.
Yeah.
Um uh they had an episode of um Ticket to Ride where
Ticket to Ride. Yeah.
like Will Wheaton's wife like bangs on the table because she was like so excited and like all
All
of
the
the trains just
pieces.
like scattered all over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah, it was a very funny moment.
Yeah, that's literally where I learned about most of them, and I just started buying board games left and right, and then I was like, "What am I doing? I can't afford all
Yeah.
these games, and I don't have enough friends to play them
Yes. It's a
with."
common it's a common feeling. Yeah. I'm like looking at my collection here. I've still got some like root expansions that are probably not gonna ever get played
Yeah,
because
I have a board
again,
game
like
closet.
my old game group has moved on. So I
Mm,
don't know. I'm keeping it for now.
yeah,
Maybe at some point I'll have more people to play with.
absolutely.
Board gaming actually took a like a big hit for me during the pandemic because um like meeting people in person to do stuff was very tough. And
Right.
um like I know some people play board games like virtually, but like for me like it just really isn't the same. Like if you're not able to kind of be with people like in person and you're actually being able to like touch things and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard for me to like get as immersed in it.
that makes sense. Do you have Tabletop Simulator by chance?
I do, but I like don't use it at all.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
When during the pandemic, that's what we started to use for things like Uno and Catan and
Mm.
oh, Dixit, my favorite game of all time. Do you know what
Oh, really?
Dixit
I've
is?
never played Dixit before.
Oh,
Okay.
the best game that you can play with children. You can play with the elderly. You can play with anybody in between. Is
Oh, okay.
literally
Okay.
just saying, "This is a card. It reminds me of the word dream." You flip it over. Everybody looks in their hand and thinks of what could represent dream. The artwork's
Yeah.
incredible. You put it
Hmm.
down, you mix them up, you put it together, and people vote.
Yeah. So it's like Cards Against Humanity or Apples to Apples, but like way more wholesome.
Way more wholesome, and you flip it over so nobody really knows who's who.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
nobody guesses yours, then everybody gets points. If one
Hmm.
person
Hmm.
guesses yours, then you get 3 points. And then if whoever got tricked, so if I put a card that represents dream, and
Hmm.
it's not the winner's card, it's my card, I get points for them being wrong.
Mm.
It, like I
Okay.
said, it's great. No one ever knows it. It's so, I know. Dick, I have all the expansions books. It's my favorite game of all time. Okay, I'm off it.
Okay.
So let's talk about Synthstrom Deluge.
Sinstrom Deluge. That's my looper that I use.
Okay. Okay.
I just love this thing. It's
Yeah, tell me about it.
yeah, it's a looper. It's got drum machines. You can sample stuff on it. It's got synths um, built into it. I love what it's done for me as like a musician. It's kind of introduced me to the world of sample based music. So which is like music where you take like a sound clip from something and then you like manipulate it and then you turn
Okay.
it into something. So you can take just like regular drum sounds and turn them into like a drum kit that you can like play, or you can take just any kinds of sounds that you pull from anywhere, like YouTube or like sound effects that you make, and then you can manipulate the sounds, make them like faster, play it faster, slower, add like effects to them, make them really echoey, play them in
Okay.
reverse, etc., etc.
And you could do that all in a little synthesizer instead of using like MIDI or Ableton or any of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So like Ableton can definitely do everything that my Deluge can do and more, but it doesn't have like all the little buttons, you know. So
Yeah, and when you're doing other things, the buttons is definitely helping. Otherwise, going to the computer and doing Ableton stuff, and then coming back, and you could just do it on your synth strum deluge.
Deluge, yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I get asked about it all the time. I figured I'd put it on the list just because it's such a like a centerpiece part of my stream of like
Yeah.
how I make music. I get questions asked about it very frequently. It's a fun little machine. It really sparks my creativity. It's actually more designed to be used in like electronic music. So think like EDM, ambient stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it has the capability to be like a performance machine. Um, and that's kind of how it is that I use it. I use it as like a looper that I can build like song arrangements and stuff with.
Yeah.
Um, there's what am I trying to say? With Ableton, you can do everything that you can do on the Deluge, and they have hardware that connects to it that can do sort of all the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I just love all the little buttons that I get to press. I love like the fact that when I'm like making the music, like you can really see what my hands are doing.
Right.
Like I'm like pressing things and like manipulating the sounds like actually with my hands as
Right.
opposed to like with a mouse, you know.
I agree. I think that it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, yeah. So
Let me
yeah,
see.
there were like tons of music things that I could have put on. Like
Yeah,
I
you
thought
could
about
put
maybe
flat
putting
wound bass. Oh my god, what am I saying? Bass
yeah,
strings.
flat wound bass strings. Yeah, yeah. That's like a more recent thing. So I was doing a residency at um Alexi Music's place. I've got like a studio set up there. And I was streaming 2 or 3 times a week while I was staying with her. And she has this bass that somebody gifted her that has flat wound strings. So they're basically strings that have like a little bit more of a kind of thuddy kind of sound to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm used to playing strings that have the more traditional round wound, and they have like a more brighter kind of like more metallic sound to them.
Right.
And so like just lately, I've just been really loving playing bass again, just because I'm sort of discovering kind of how I can make different kinds of sounds with just these new strings.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and so I'm always trying to find things to like kind of breathe life into what it is that I do as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
This is just like one kind of example of that. Me adding instruments is like part of it. You know, like I've got like a banjo, I've got an erhu, I have like a pipa, which is
What's
like
the
a
newest
Chinese
one?
lute. The newest one, what is it? What is my newest instrument? I think the banjo actually is the newest instrument, or maybe
Nice.
the automaton. Like I have like
Oh
a bigger
god.
automaton now. Yeah,
Oh
you know,
god.
like yeah, the white whaler.
I love it.
Yeah. Um,
Whoa.
I think that might be the newest one. I've always been like a multi instrumentalist. Like I've always played guitar and keyboard and kind of drums and stuff. But like I've made it part of my brand because I've just had so much fun like trying to add more stuff and like trying to figure out how to build like these like big arrangements. Ben likes to call me like just adding in as many instruments as I can, throwing the kitchen sink at a song.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Both the flat wounds with some experimental effects and distortion. Oh, okay, yeah, maybe I should do that. Yeah. Um, what else? I've got harmonicas also. I'm like just like
Nice.
looking around here. There's like a glockenspiel that I have. Oh, my stream got me a like an electronic wind instrument. It's called an aerophone. I was so blown away that like my stream community actually pulled together the money for it. It's just like not something that I would ever really kind of think of doing. Aerophone, I think it's spelled Aero, like aeroplane, aerophone. It's made by Roland, Aero phone.
A E O A E. Hello. Aereo. phone. There we go. Man, that shouldn't have been that
Aerophone.
hard. Musical instruments that produces sound primarily cause the air to vibrate without the use of strings or membranes.
Okay, so you got to find the electronic one. So
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's let's see here. Which brand is it? It's made by Roland. I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. AE10. AE10. That's the brand that I have.
Okay.
Aerophone AE10.
Roland Aerophone AE10 is a.
Yep, that's mine.
Okay. Well, it's leading me to all sorts of things, so I just believe you at this point because
Yeah.
it's not what you think it is.
Okay. All right.
But I see it. I see
You're
it with my eyes.
Intentionally covering it up. Yeah. So, yeah, what's fun about it is like it's got like saxophone and like trumpet sounds in it, but it's also got these like other like more like out there sounds that you can do. So like I know Sensio really likes the bagpipe sounds.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like so annoying sounding. He loves it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Bagpipe.
That's incredible. So, okay, what's a trickster show?
Oh, okay. So this is it's a CBC show. It's like a Canadian broadcast corporation show.
Okay.
I think it's based off of a graphic novel, or maybe just a novel. It's like a show about
Novel Son of a Trickster.
yeah. So it's like about this this guy who this like teenage boy who finds out that he's he has like I don't know, like superpowers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about it is it's based in the world of like rural Canada,
Okay.
and the main character is an indigenous Canadian, and so like it has a lot of like indigenous kind of social issues kind of like baked into the show. So
Nice.
I just find it like very, very fascinating when I see like other cultures kind of being represented in like different kinds of stories like this.
Okay.
So I'm like about halfway through it right now.
We had a second season, renewed second season. The plans were eventually canceled due to controversy around Michelle Latimer's indigenous heritage.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's probably not very well known outside of Canada.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend it. Like I've really been enjoying it.
Okay.
So
Have you ever
had to put it on
seen
there.
The Magicians?
No, I haven't.
It's a sci-fi TV show that has some of the same things that I'm guessing here, but it's the character development is phenomenal. The story is 6 seasons long and really really good, and it's a sci-fi original. That's all I can say.
Okay.
So if you're ever into something that's sort of like
Okay.
this, look The Magicians up.
The Magicians. Okay. Yeah, I'm always looking for new shows.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Magicians.
definitely. Tell me about personality tests.
Personality tests. I really really love personality tests. Like I remember discovering them as like a teenager, and I just like found it like very fascinating learning how it is that people like sort out how people are different. And so I think like the most famous one that you'll come across online is like the Myers-Briggs personality sorter. And I remember getting into the Enneagram personality sorter also. And there's some other ones that are like a little bit less known. Those are probably like the biggest ones. But
do you know what
I think
your
it's
personality type is here?
So personality I think changes over time.
I agree.
Like so I'm putting that as a caveat because I think some of the things maybe are a little bit in flux for me. So like for instance, I used to think I was introverted, but I'm like pretty convinced that I'm actually extroverted now.
Okay.
um, maybe somewhere in between. So I'd probably say
Ambivert.
I'm more extroverted, introverted. I also think I used to be more sensing than intuitive, but I think now, like, I'm more in touch with like my artistic side.
Yeah.
I think I'm more artistic now than I am sensing.
You should take it again.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. So one of the plans that I have for like doing a stream in the future is to do like a personality test
That's
online
awesome. Yeah,
and just
I'm
see
apparently, well, I was an ENFJ, and I took it
ENFJ. Okay.
again, and I was an INFJ. So I was like, oh,
Okay.
apparently I've become a little more introverted in my life. That's okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 And I think like it can be like when you get into different life stages, certain parts of your personality like become more prominent. That's like my take on it. And like sometimes there's like a part of you that just doesn't really get to express itself for because I don't know you're a kid, you're like living with your parents,
Right.
you're in school or whatever. Like who you are as an adult, like in the working world, is very different than who like you might be when you're like old and retired and like
Right.
get to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I'm probably more thinking than feeling, and I'm definitely more judging than probing.
Okay.
So like the ones that I feel pretty confident about, I think are the TJ part for me. So I think I'd put myself at ENTJ.
ENTJ. Let's see. The very bottom here: strategic, logical, efficient, outgoing, ambitious, independent, effective, organizers of people, and long range planners.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that that describes me pretty well. Like especially at this stage, um, I do really love kind of working with people, and I love I don't know planning stuff out. Like you really get to see like the nerdy part of me when I'm doing board games,
Yeah.
or when or like even when I'm like talking about like streaming. Like I just love like planning out like stream events. Like I
Yeah.
love talking about like branding. Um, I love like mapping out um, creative projects, like coming up with like concepts for like a channel, coming up with like shows, like thinking about what kinds of songs I want to do for like an album that I'm
Right.
working on. That like that kind of stuff like really gets me going. I love talking about that stuff.
And that makes me full of dread.
Yeah.
The fact that I have something to do is what fills me with dread. I mean, just I love streaming, but even sometimes I'm like, all right, I got to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Work
Ifazar
myself up
says,
for it.
Ifazar says, having met you, I'd be stunned if you were actually an introvert. Um, yeah, I like Twitch has really brought out the extroverted side of me. I think I've always been extroverted. It's just um, I haven't like really found my tribe. You know, um, like I think Twitch does like attract like certain kinds of people. Like there are certain people that are just not going to find Twitch like interesting.
Right.
But for me, like I feel very much at home with like the people that I've met. All the people in the chat right now, like I feel very much at home
Aw.
with all of you. I feel very much at home, chatting with you right now.
Aw.
Um, it's it's I don't know. I don't know if it's like the gaming kind of aspect of it, like some of the shared experience that we have, like the fact that we're kind of comfortable with communicating through text. Um, uh, I don't know if it's like because there's just a lot of like creative people on the platform who just like want to make stuff, want to like
Right.
express their stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in there. I think there's a lot of like BIPOC representation on here. There's good LGBTQ plus
Hmm.
representation also on Twitch. So those things I think make it feel like more familiar and comfortable for me.
I agree. And
Yeah.
Jack, just because I'm an INFJ and it's riddled with it doesn't mean that I'm not unique, okay? Riddled with INFJs, you're basically telling me that I am one of a crowd. And
Yeah. Yeah.
gosh, Jack, why could you be so rude about that?
I've heard that N's are actually like less common than S's.
Oh, interesting.
Um, so like most people are S. So like I don't know if there's any real kind of evidence behind it. And actually, like if you dig into the Myers-Briggs personality disorder, like you find that it's like very shallow in terms of like what it can tell people.
Right.
Like there's way more to personality than just these four different domains.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I kind of like the Enneagram a little bit more. It's like you got to do more reading, and there's a lot more stuff to learn, but it's I think way more interesting because it's
What is it called?
Enneagram. So how do you spell that? It's ENNEA gram. Yeah, Enneagram personality. Yeah, so it's got like I think like 9 different types. Yeah, and they're all like sort of related to each other, and you've got like this idea of like your personality being like expressed at its best versus like at its worst,
Awesome.
which the Myers-Briggs test doesn't really get into at all.
No, it does not. Enneagram,
Um,
interestingly, is super popular among Christians, I've found.
oh yeah, yeah, I'm not surprised.
And yes, Jack, I am a beautiful snowflake. Very unique. Okay, so the personality test I find so fascinating that you're so fascinated with it, because that's something that I've even done into my master's degree. We were doing different, what are
Oh no
you
way.
personality tests type thing. What color are you? What this are you? That are you? Like all the tests. We had to do all of the tests. I don't recognize this one, but we literally had to do like all the tests.
Hmm,
Um,
hmm.
and I find it interesting when other people are interested in it, because it's a way of identifying ourselves and trying to figure ourselves out, and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's for me. I've just discovered stuff, not just about myself, but like about other people through
Interesting.
like people's work in trying to like categorize different types of personalities. I feel like studying personality tests and just kind of learning what people are noticing about people kind of helps me understand people better.
That's really cool.
Um, I think that personality tests, like in general, tend to be uh, not very accurate. At least the ones that are like more accessible.
All right. Yeah, which
Because like
Futurama character are you?
yeah. Well, so one of the things about personality tests is like you're always self-diagnosing,
Right.
right? And I just don't believe that like you can like really accurately assess who you are just by yourself.
Right.
Like you learn about yourself through other people. And so that's why like I think some of the more advanced personality tests like involve like trained like psychologists or kind of specialists who can look at things a little bit more objectively. You know, I think it's actually more interesting to do these personality tests with like other people and to take it like a little bit with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Discuss your
Um,
results too, and try to
yeah.
understand, like you said, understand other people. I think that's great. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Hmm.
Tell me about argon oil.
Argan oil.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're getting back into like kind of like the thrift store
Okay.
type talk.
Okay. Okay.
So I've recently grown out my hair.
I see that.
Um, I started growing it out last year in September, and so I've been like kind of learning how to like how to actually maintain it. Uh, so the issue that I started having once my hair started getting really long is like it would always get in my eyes. Um, and so like I never like tied up my hair before. That's like one thing that I had to do. I recently got my hair permed,
Nice.
and so I'd like never had like curly hair before. And so I was like kind of learning how to do that. The most recent thing that I've discovered is putting oil in your hair to like make it more kind of smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And so argan oil is what I've been kind of using to make my hair like less frizzy. So I have Alex to thank actually for this. She's the one that recommended it for me.
It's also used to dip bread in a basket or to drizzle on couscous or pasta.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So it makes my hair very, very tasty. You know.
Yeah, okay, got it, got it.
So yeah. Anyway, so I've been using that. Like my shampoo has been argan oil based. And I've been like putting argan oil like on my tips.
Okay.
Um, to make it a little bit more kind of flowy and a little bit softer.
How was
Um,
that perm for you? Did it smell?
it did like the first day. Like it was also very crunchy.
Yeah.
I've never had like any serious work done on my hair before. Like in
Hmm.
fact, I used to have a buzz cut.
Okay.
Like for the longest time. I had like the most boring hair. Uh, and it was definitely a big change for me. Like
Yeah.
I just wasn't used to like the like crunchiness of like my hair.
Yeah.
I wasn't like I never really had like good and bad hair days because my hair was just like sort of always the same.
Right.
But like now, like I actually like do have like days where my hair looks good and days where my hair doesn't look that great. Like it really is a thing now that I'm
Yeah.
discovering.
You never
You know?
know until you know, right?
Yeah, yeah. But people have really been liking like the new look for me. Like I feel like
I like it a lot. I feel like you're straight out of that 70s show.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
Kelso look going
Uh-huh.
on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love it.
I like I love that I can like headbang now and like my hair like just kind of flails all over the place, you know? Like it's,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. Yeah. Uh
Now, do
yeah.
you would your hair be pin straight if it wasn't permed?
It might be. I don't know. So I did get my hair cut this summer and I got it layered, which I'd never done before either.
Right.
So like it's a little bit fuller now in the back. Like it used to just be like very like long and strandy.
Right.
Um so it's I don't really have any plans of cutting it yet. I just kind of want to see like, kind of how it looks.
Yeah.
Um
I'm asking for a husband friend.
oh yeah.
Yeah, because he has a bun and, he's got hair that goes down to his butt. And we're trying to see if maybe getting him some sort of haircut would be good. And I think your haircut is perfect for him.
Okay.
But he thinks
Okay.
that he has too straight of a hair to
Okay. Okay.
pull that off. And I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah. So
argan oil.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the argan oil helps with keeping it like kind of curly, I guess.
Yeah.
So like the top portion of my hair is like straight now, but like the bottom portion is like a little bit curly. So
Hmm.
like once my hair starts growing out a lot more, it's gonna look a lot more like what it did before. I got the perm, which is like just like very like long and straight.
Right.
So I might re-perm it again, or I don't know. Maybe I'll just stick to having it be straight. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of like kind of uh taking the advice of like the stylists
Yeah,
that
for
I
sure.
go to and just kind of letting them be like the judge for it. Because like this really is like new territory for me. Like what's the other thing? Like I used to get like my hair stuck like in my like in the back of my shirt, which was like a very like unusual feeling for me.
Yeah.
Um, uh, having like my hair poke my eyes also was like a very unusual feeling for me.
Yeah, hair in your eyes is a serious one. That's when you
Yeah.
have a husband who has hair down to his butt, you've had me with long hair, you've got three cats with long hair. You
Mhm.
never know whose hair is in your eye.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
never know. Could be anyone's.
Yeah, and oh my god, there's so much hair like all over my house now. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure there was hair before, like because we all shed, right? But
Right.
like, I can just see all the hair now.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like,
We
oh
got a
my god.
specific vacuum, a shark vacuum that is it doesn't get hair stuck in it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Because that was the biggest problem. It gets stuck in the rollers, and you have to cut it out of the rollers and blah blah.
Yep.
This has this whole system that picks up hair, and there's no tangling. And I'm like, this was the best investment
Oh,
I ever made because
okay.
cutting that out of the brushes was one of the biggest reasons I hated vacuuming.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've definitely done that before, taking the scissors to like
Yeah,
cut through
you
them.
have
There's
to.
something kind of satisfying about it. I'm not gonna lie, but it is like really gross.
I mean, it's
Um,
it's not even so much it's gross. It's just annoying. Like,
yeah,
and then you have
yeah,
to
yeah,
vacuum right after that when you know the same thing's gonna happen again.
yeah, 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 yeah. We need a glamour shot fan redeem. Yeah, yeah.
That would be cool.
One
Okay,
day.
so there's two things I want to go over real quick. The first one, which is not Wikipediable, um, is I just want to know, and I think Jack's here, so this is perfect. Why does singing the happy birthday song too slow bother you so much? Because Jack has a happy birthday thing and they all sing it really slow and really monotone and really off key. And I'm
Uh-huh.
just
Uh-huh.
curious if that would literally great, like, what is it called? Grind your gears or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It like annoys me so much. Yeah. I just it depends you in and out. Oh my god. I don't know what it is. Like I just hate like how slow it becomes when nobody's leading it.
Right.
You know? Like when we're all just like okay, so like this happens a lot like in like offices. Uh some of the schools that I taught at, we would like sing happy birthday to each other, like in the teachers' lounge, and like it'd always be like everybody looking around like uncomfortably, like who's gonna start it, and then somebody
Yeah.
would be like, "Happy birthday," and I'd be like, "Oh my god, like why are you holding the happy part?
Why
Like
can't
just
this be
go."
like a Chili's? Happy
Yeah,
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just get it over with. Like we don't really care about the song. Like
Right.
we just want to get to the cake.
Right. The
And then like
cake
nobody's singing it like in pitch and like but then there's like people who are like trying to harmonize and it's just like
to
just a hot jumbled mix.
you.
And then people like don't remember whose birthday it is and like they don't really know like what name
You
and then
have
everybody's
to listen
laughing
to
because it's so
Jack's.
silly.
You have to listen to Jack's redeem or his birthday thing because it's an office
Yeah.
birthday party where they don't know the person's name and they sing it way too slow. It's it's terrifying, and I know
Oh
exactly how
man.
you feel.
Happy birthday, F you. That's hilarious, Ben.
There is a happy day bird day to you and too cheap.
Too cheap.
So hold on, I'll type it out. So hippo birdie to you.
Hippo birdie to you. Oh.
And that one I appreciate because that's a
Hippo
bunch of
birdie
puns
to
right
you.
there.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, let's we're going to end on Canada,
Okay.
but let's talk about cheese.
Okay. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it because
I
you're
don't like cheese.
lactose intolerant or because you literally hate cheese?
It's like both. I really don't like cheese. Like I don't like the smell of cheese. It actually does like make me kind of nauseous.
Okay.
And I actually don't like even like the taste of cheese.
Okay.
Like I just find it like very off-putting to me.
So mac and cheese is a no-go.
No, no, yeah. I just don't like mac and cheese. It's just like um I know that like certain foods just like give people that sort of like kind of visceral kind of like disgust kind of feeling
Right.
and it can happen for things that I find are like delicious. Like some people find seafood really gross, you
Right.
know. Some people find certain kinds of vegetables really gross. Like I know like okra, like people find kind of weird because it has
Yeah.
this like slimy texture to it,
Texture's not a great thing for me.
you know. But for me, like I find the yeah just like the taste of cheese to like just not be very pleasant to me. Um, and so it's kind of tough sometimes for me going to like certain kinds of restaurants because like cheese is often like a big part of certain kinds of cuisine,
Right.
you know. So like cheese is featured prominently in like Mexican restaurants in
Right.
the U.S. Italian food sometimes.
Wait, hold up.
Um,
Do you not eat pizza?
uh, I usually don't eat pizza. No, yeah. I did grow up eating pizza, and I would just have like diarrhea afterwards.
That's fair. But like I had a girl sit next to me. I was in Ohio and
Yeah,
we ordered pizza and she literally took the cheese off the pizza and she said
yeah,
she didn't like the texture.
yeah. That's like me. Yeah,
But it just blew. I know you can get cheap pizza without cheese. We're not getting into the
yeah,
pizza argument every single stream, Jack.
yeah.
I'm
It's
just
great.
saying
Yeah.
that Ohio. Um yeah, I know you can get pizza without cheese. Would you? No, no timers. I'm not talking about pizza anymore. We're done with the stream in like 2 seconds. I get really intense about pizza discussion if you can't
Do
tell.
you?
Yes.
Okay.
And so there's been multiple guests that have been on here that
Uh,
I've literally gone 20 minutes talking about pizza and realized I've gone 20 minutes talking about pizza. So Jack likes to put on a timer when the pizza conversation comes up.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where all this is coming from.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so then no pizza, no mac and cheese.
Lasagna, like
Oh,
hard
I
no
hate
for me.
lasagna. Oh no
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm a really bad Italian, and I hate lasagna.
Okay. So there's difference between like Northern Italian and Southern Italian food
Mm-hmm.
though.
Yeah.
So like the Northern Italian food, I don't really like as much. Like Southern Italian food, like Sicilian kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it like tends to be like less I don't know, less French tasting, I guess. Like I associate like Northern Italian with like being
French.
French food adjacent.
Yeah.
Um, like I love like seafood. I love pizzas that don't have cheese in them actually.
Okay.
Um, so like I've had when I was living in India, there's an Italian uh, cultural center that was near where I lived, and I used to go there frequently. And I would get like a marinara pizza, so good, so good.
Oh yeah. See, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like what other things have like cheesecake? I don't really like. I don't like cream cheese. I'd much prefer like hummus or like almond butter on my bagels as opposed to cream cheese.
Okay.
Um, String cheese I find like kind
Well,
of
string
gross.
cheese is kind of gross. I mean,
Yeah.
it just kind of is. But I mean, for
Mm.
me, being Italian, fresh mozzarella with salami and balsamic is my
Mm.
lunch like every other day.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
they have these fresh mozzarella tubes basically that are
Mhm.
I know tube, but it comes in a thing and it's pre-sliced.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I just put out slices and I put up salami and I drizzle some balsamic and chef's kiss. But I
Mm. Mm.
respect that you don't like cheese. That's totally fine. You are allowed to not like cheese. Hey, Canada, last thing we're going to talk about
Hey,
here.
Canada, eh? Yeah.
Uh-huh, exactly. I found that I've hung around so many Canadians that I'll be
Mm.
like,
Mhm.
"You know about Canada, right?" Or "Do you understand that, yeah?" Like
Yeah.
it's always ending these sentences with these upward inflections of like, "Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Eh?"
Eh? Mm?
Yeah.
Huh? Eh? Eh? Canada, right? Huh? Huh?
Right? So, okay, so
Yeah.
last thing, we have about 2 minutes here. Let's talk about Canada. Why did that make your list?
Oh man, I love I have so many like Twitch friends now on Canada. I'm in a relationship with a Canadian, so like I'm
Mm-hmm.
like sort of obliged to
That's fair.
love Canada. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like Canada is like such a lovely place.
Yeah.
You know, like people are polite there. Like it's kind of like America, but like it's like kind of nicer in some ways.
You're not hurting my
Uh,
feelings. I would love to go to Canada, so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too. Like I mean it's not like a paradise or anything.
Right.
It's like it is cold there.
Yeah.
And I do love places that are like warm, especially places that are warm year round. Um, but I find Canadians to be like some of like the coolest people. Um, they're uh I find there's like sort of like a self-awareness that they have that like Americans don't really have, you know. I find that there yeah there's like a kindness I think to like the Canadian spirit that I really enjoy. I love how like multicultural Canada is like in general, at least the parts that I've been to. I know I'm only really familiar with like urban Canada. I should kind of disclaimer.
Right.
So like I've never been in like um, uh, I don't know like rural Alberta or
Right.
um, some of the other places that some of Canadian Twitch streamers are in. Uh, but like urban Canada, honestly, is like fantastic.
So
I love it.
like what's it called? What's that TV show called? The Canadian one that is oh god. Give me a sec. Galvos, help me out. It's the one where they drink the beer and they They thank you, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny.
See, I call and he answers. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I've never heard of Letterkenny before. What's
What?
Letterkenny?
Oh, sorry. I hate when I do that. I hate when other people do that. When you're like, "What?"
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
I
that's
do
one
that
you
too.
should watch if you like Canada. Then you
Yeah,
need to watch
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny. Write it down, post it on your forehead.
Okay. Okay.
Letterkenny is what you need to watch if you love Canada, because
Okay.
it's a Canadian. It's on Hulu right now. It's a Canadian TV show about Canadians in
Uh-huh.
rural Canada.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So
It's gonna be like my Canada education. Watch it, Delta. It's what I grew up around, mixed with Trailer Park Boys. All right.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
worth watching. All right, well, cool. We just did Wiki Wednesday. Thank you so much for being on here. I super
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, that was fun.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you had fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun too. I love when I could just talk to streamers and we don't have to like totally go through the list. Like it's kind of like a offshoot of many different things. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
love learning about the people that I'm talking to. So you are a
Yeah. Yeah.
fascinating human being. You are incredibly nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I had
And
so much fun chatting with you, Rusticana.
oh, yay, I'm glad, I'm glad, I'm glad. Um,
Yeah.
so let me check my notes here. Next week is going to be Strikeout. He's going to be coming on. He's been postponed a few times, so hopefully we don't have to postpone him again. After that, Alan the Yellow-Eyed, Mosh Kane, Papa Bear Gaming, Davies Eating a Sandwich, and Six Psycho. We're going to be out going into October, and I will be gone. Oh, you got a date. Very nice. We are going to be chill in October because we got a lot of stuff going on in October. We've got a big nerd convention going on, and then we've got Twitch nerd convention going on. So back to back weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for coming around. Let me see real quick if there's anyone to raid. Usually I raid Davey, and usually he's playing golf with your friends. So let's see if that
Okay.
proves to be true. Guess what? It's Davey.
Yeah,
Guess what he's playing?
apparently.
Golf with your
All
friends.
Nice.
So, because anyone else I usually go and raid into, and they're like leaving for the day. Like they're done at 9 or 10. So we go into Davey because he's fantastic and because he's amazing at doing interviews. So follow him just for interview purposes. He does great interviews with fun streamers. And thanks again, Delta Crab. I appreciate you being on here.
All right. Yeah. Thanks to everybody who came to listen to my interview from my stream community. Thank you so much, Ben, Infozar, Sensia, Books, Brews, and Booze.
And
so many great friends
will
here.
be on YouTube. So I'll make
Cool.
sure to upload it. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
All right. Have a good night.
Right now.